It's Edge Radio Australia. Malloy with you pressing the buttons, and I don't know what buttons I'm pressing today. I've completely lost track. In fact, I'm taking over. I know it's the one thing. I know
it is the one thing on Edge Radio Australia.
Oh, the lovely Lisa to my right here, who is in charge of this show. Things are going wild. Things are going out of control.
Well, that's not very good because they're not on time if I'm in charge.
Oh, good point. Jeez.
So it must be my fault.
What's going on here? Hello. So I will hand to you. Would you like to introduce who we've got today?
Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, most definitely. But let's first talk about welcoming you to the show.
Okay.
Aaron Malloy, how's your week been?
Oh, gee, what a peachy week it's been. Quiet one.
Yeah, really quiet.
A lot of resting.
Yeah, I believe you had a few nights away.
Oh, yeah, nice hotel with a lot of buzzers and funny screen and terrible reception.
Yeah, and excellent ice cream and jelly, I believe.
The taste of those wooden spoons is something very special to eat, honestly. Yeah, I felt like I was in prison. I really did. It was like, can't be trusted with a cutlery. Yeah.
Well, I have to say, where you are sitting is where you belong. So
thank you very much.
So I
far
hope
more comfortable here.
Absolutely. And then last week, of course, you were up doing lymphatic slapping on our show on the one thing.
Maybe it was because I was doing I got big butts and I cannot lie kind of thing. Maybe that's what made me sick.
Maybe that's what caused it. There you go. There you go. Just saying. So we won't be getting you up on the one thing again.
No, never again. Okay, we're not doing exercise ever again. That's not happening. Let's jump into it, though.
Welcome to everybody that is watching. My name is Lisa Byfield from the Worldwide Awake Business Network, and I'm joined today by my lovely co-host Tanya Skinner, who's actually filling in for Leanne Jones from Panacea Healing. Thank you so much for joining me in Leanne's absence. She's off over in KL, romping around as part of an ASEA conference. So anyone that knows Leanne knows how passionate she is about ASEA.
It's a junket. Let's not lie. It's a junket. We all know it's a junket. Okay. All right. She's having a ball. Yeah. But lovely to have you with us, honestly. I'm really looking forward to today's show. It should be very cool.
Yeah.
What a great bunch of people.
It really will be. Yeah. And of course, our special guest, Jeff Bowman, who I'm going to come back to in a moment. But first of all, I'd like to concentrate on Tanya. Now, Tanya, there was a very good reason that I asked you onto the show today because of the topic that we have. So I would love for you to share with everybody. Let's start with your business name, which is really interesting.
Okay, my business name is 𝐊𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐦𝐚 Australia, which stands for Inspiring Children Universally.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So and it's a really cool banner. Have you still got the same banner?
I have indeed. Yeah. Yes.
That's much nicer than the ICU I saw. But okay. Different one. Very cool. All right.
Yeah, it's a very interesting acronym. And tell us what you offer children as part of ICU.
Okay, so I teach children to purposely connect to their intuition. By blocking off the eyesight, then they're able to access their other senses. So children have an amazing ability where they can actually see as clearly as you and I are seeing now, only they'll be wearing a blindfold. They can see in 360 as well. And yes, I teach them to do everything that they would normally do with their eyes open, only they're wearing a blindfold.
That is absolutely crazy. Is there a particular age up to that children are more likely to be able to achieve this? Like, do they get more skeptical, as an example, at the age of 8? I'm not sure.
Yes, look, they have to be able to believe that they can do it. Be able to do it. It's like anyone with anything. You've got to have self-belief. So, look, I have taught up to a girl up to the age of 16, and she was able to see clearly. But, and that's the only hindrance, really. So 7 years old is a great age, I find, for children. So, otherwise they start thinking too much. And if they start thinking that they're not able to do it, oh, we can't do this, this is not what school tells us we can do, then obviously that gets in the way. And that's the only thing that gets in the way with adults as well. You've got to stop the mind, stop that mind chat in there, because we can all do it too.
That is so true. And when I was speaking to Leanne about asking you onto the show when she wasn't here today, she said, I'm really looking forward to inviting Tanya onto the show to share with what she does. So after today, will you come back another time?
Absolutely.
So that we can dive more into that.
Great.
But you're a school teacher by day, aren't you?
I am, yes.
Yeah, and you teach science.
Yes, I teach science. I do that part-time, and then my business part-time as well.
Is that the science you can buy from politicians, or is that the real stuff?
Yes, it's physics and
I just
chemistry
like
and
these
biology
subjects.
and
I know,
earth
I'm only
science.
kidding,
Yes,
Helen.
that kind of
That
science.
kind
yes.
of stuff. Oh, the real stuff. Cool.
Yeah, and our special guest today is Jeff Bowman from Wealth by Design. So welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for your kind invitation.
You're very welcome. And the world in which I know Jeff is very much wrapped around finance. So would you like to tell everybody what the name of your business is and what you specialize in?
Yeah, sure, certainly. The name of the business is Wealth by Design, and we specialise in helping people bridge the gap if they think they might be short on their projected retirement income when they sell their business or stop working as a salaried person.
Okay. So short, I'm thinking with me, maybe pygmy. That short, okay, of what I actually need to retire, but okay. But I love the fact that in the time that we've been talking about things, though, honestly, I love the fact you can start any time. I joke about it, but it's true. Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there are particular things you can do to accelerate. So, yeah.
Yes. So the reason that you have come on today is to speak about something that's quite different. And when I communicated to you, Jeff, that I would like to invite you onto the one thing, I said, what would you like to talk about? What are you really passionate about? And your first response was, well, I'm really passionate about Venice. And my response to you was, is it something that most people would relate to? And then we started speaking about the time that you had in Africa and how passionate you were about the philanthropy that you were wrapping yourself around with the climb on the mountain. And I said, that's it. That's what we've got to talk about, because that's a different side of Jeff Bowman. And that's the reason, or one of the reasons, that Tanya's here today, because she's also been to Africa and she's also an adventurer. And I don't know whether you got a chance to check out Tanya's Facebook page, but she's actually a lot more adventurous than me.
Right. I'm about to play Toto. That's as much Africa as I'm going to get going.
Oh, really? I think you indicated actually recently on a Facebook profile that you were thinking about jumping out of a plane.
I've done it.
You've done it.
Yeah, I've done it before.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done the big
Yeah.
one. I've done the 15,000, the proper one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So,
pretty serious.
Yeah, head first, 250 k's an hour.
Oh my
Winner.
goodness.
Maximum
Maximum
velocity.
Yeah.
136
I jumped
feet a
out on
second.
my own. I did a static climb one where you have to push yourself out.
Oh, I like
Yes.
that.
Oh, that's very
Yeah.
gutsy.
I wasn't
Yes.
given the option.
Not quite as
Yeah.
high, but yes,
But
you
very,
do come
very
down
cool.
on your own.
But I love this. I love this. This is about pushing yourself, right? Okay,
Yeah.
and doing things like, okay, Jeff and I talk about finance all the time, and all sorts of great things.
Yeah, so we're not allowed to talk
We're
about
not.
that today.
Okay, I
no
promise.
finance
Okay, we'll keep away
today.
from that.
No boring
finance
money
today.
discussion.
No, but what I'm kind of getting at is like, okay, all of us are so multifaceted. We're not just one thing. Okay, we get known for one thing that we do, but when I learned, it's a while ago now, about the fact that you've done these fantastic things, you're skiing, all of that, it just shows me just other layers of you, and I think it's great.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I want to hear about it basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So no problem at all. So
So how did this trip come about?
well, I was sitting at home at the office, and a mate of mine from Victoria, a farming friend of mine I went to school with,
Mhm.
phoned me up and said, "Oh, Bowie, what are you doing in October next year?" And of course, this was like January or something the year before. But I said, "Look, I've got no bloody idea, but what do you got in mind?" He said, "Oh, we're thinking of going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. You want to come?"
Wow. Okay, so let's just stop there.
That's how it started.
Let's go back a step. So you were talking about farming communities. So tell us a little bit about Jeff Bowman, where you were brought up and your family and so on.
Okay, so I was brought up in a farm in New South Wales,
Mhm.
in the Riverina, in the southern Riverina, which is the south of New South Wales on the Murray River.
Mhm.
Nice.
So little country town.
Yeah. And
cool.
where were you? Are you the youngest?
No, I'm the oldest.
Are you the eldest?
Yes.
Are you the eldest, Tanya?
Second eldest.
Second eldest. Where are
Yes.
I'm the middle child.
you? Middle.
Middle pin syndrome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the eldest as well, Jeff. So I didn't know we had that in common.
Yes,
There we
yes,
go.
we're the eldest.
Okay.
Yes.
We're both bossy boots. Yeah.
How do we survive together?
Oh,
So small country town. I went to school in Geelong, which was sort of Victoria, which is a bit odd, but
Mhm.
it was a boarding school. There wasn't much of a school where I was in New South
Okay.
Wales. So know Victoria pretty well too. But mind you, southern New South Wales is very Victorianised. We play Victorian footy
Yeah.
listen to Victorian radio.
Yep. Yep.
And you're close to Melbourne than you are to Sydney. So so that was sort of
Did you do any water skiing out there in the Murray River?
yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Because
Yeah.
when you talk about the skiing thing, I thought, hang on,
Yeah.
there's a link because the Murray River is known for it.
Yes. Lots of camping and fishing before the introduction of the European carp. The Murray was crystal clear.
Is that right?
Yeah, so we loved catching reddies and the odd Murray cod.
Yeah.
So they were fabulous days as kids.
You're very lucky. Really lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, how wonderful.
So, okay, farm boy, hey? All right. Yeah, so
Did
on
From
you
the
know
bush.
that about Jeff?
No, I did
You
not.
didn't know he was
There
a
we
farm
go.
boy.
Farm the
So
bush,
How
yeah.
many episodes of Wealth by Design have you done?
We've never talked about farming. Okay.
There you
Okay.
go.
Next time we
So
talk
you're
about
learning
barbed wire. Well,
You're
away we
learning
go.
those
Yeah.
different layers
Yeah.
now, aren't
No.
you? Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you know that he was the eldest child?
No, I did not.
No, there you go. What else would you like to share with us?
You're sounding more like a stalker than anything right now, Lisa, but never mind.
Well, how long have we got, Lisa?
I do not have time to stalk people.
No.
And so there's a little bit of the early days.
Yeah.
Yes,
So have you always had that adventurous spirit, Jeff?
Look, I don't know. Country kids generally like to get out of their comfort zone a bit, rather climbing trees or, shooting things up or, fishing or crabbing or yabbing or out and about,
Were you brought up in the country, Tanya?
No, I'm from London.
The guy
Complete
Londoner.
opposite.
There's got a Londoner over here. Right? What's going on?
But I love climbing trees too, so it's very interesting.
Yes, we had my brother and I used to have this fantastic egg collection. We had a very strict father, though, that said if there's 3 eggs in the nest, you could only take 1.
Oh.
If there was 2, you could take none. Yeah. So
what was the logic?
well, the logic was that you couldn't steal all the eggs out of an egg's nest
Right.
because that would
We're
be
not talking about chickens.
that would
We're
be
talking about
that would be plovers, crows.
Gotcha. Okay. I thought you were talking about
parrots.
chooks.
I did too. I thought he was talking
Yeah.
about chooks.
I thought-
Yeah.
I did.
I think
Yeah.
you wanted to
I
make
was
an omelette.
listening.
Yeah. Crappiest omelette ever.
But they were great. We used to trade them. We used to trade them
Right.
against all the other kids in the schoolyard. So, well, for plovers were very hard to find
I
because
don't even know what a plover is.
a plover is a ground bird,
Okay.
and their camouflage is so good, and their eggs are almost impossible to see. So, if you could find 1 plover, well, you could trade that for about 20 sparrow eggs because sparrow eggs are really easy to find.
I bet you were just trading marbles at school.
No. Everything was cars with me. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Little
always-
matchbox cars.
Oh,
you'd-
matchbox cars. Every single week I will walk down to the local news agency and spend my $1.80 on my next every single week. Every single week I buy a new matchbox car.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we are the kid. Yeah, I'm a strange kid. So all the other kids
No,
were
that's cool.
banging them together. No, mine were pristine. They were absolutely right, simple as that. But I like to get dirty, and I used to like. I grew up in the country as well, of sorts, and I love to get dirty and muddy.
All right,
and-
so where do you call the country? Not Como.
I grew up in Como, but then after that, I grew up on acres, but when I was a bit older. But looking for yabbies and jorgies and doing all that sort of thing, and that is so much
I did
fun.
that at the back of Gosnells.
Oh,
Yeah, so Gosnells is a little bit more country than.
little rock and roll.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Okay.
Explains a lot, I know.
It does. Explains everything.
Yeah, and so I suppose you learnt to be a risk taker as well,
Yeah.
and you measure risk because you were driving vehicles as soon as your feet could reach the pedals.
Yep.
As farm kids, you were driving and cars and motorbikes only around the farm and stuff, or maybe some of the gravel roads at the back.
What type of farm was it, Jeff?
A mixed farming, so we had summer crops, sorghum, rice, fat lambs. And we also had a dairy farm.
What's the difference between a fat lamb and a lamb?
Well, one's fat, Lisa. That's the difference.
One's
Very
about
complicated.
one's about that big, and it loses its mother.
Have you ever heard anybody talk about a fat lamb?
I've seen mutton dressed as lamb.
I know.
Haven't we
It's
all?
so common speak for farmers because fat lambs, you sell them in about 9 months, and they're the youngest of the ones that get sold, and then they grow up to be bigger sheep, and you sell them as mature sheep.
There you
Okay.
go.
To be fair, have you ever heard of that terminology, fat lamb?
Fat lamb, no,
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. Talk to any farmer in sheep growing land anywhere in the world, Lisa,
Mhm.
in the
I'm
world,
I'm not a farmer,
in the world, and you'll go.
and I'm sure a lot of our listeners aren't farmers either.
No, that'd be
so-
right. No.
Look, as much as I love
Fat
talking
lambs
about
will-
this,
Fat lambs will probably come up. There'll be probably a protest because you can't insult
Oh.
lambs. You
Okay.
can't shut
Here
fat.
come the hate letters from
You
all the
ca-
fat lambers
Yes,
out there.
You
yes.
cannot
All right, I
fat
wanna-
shame sheep.
Oh,
Wait for it; they'll be coming through.
We are on
Oh.
radio.
Yeah.
It's freedom of speech.
oh, fat of the lamb. Here we've got a prodigy joke going on. That's for the joke for two people who understand that one. But I want to get away from the fat lambs just for a bit, mate, if I may, because you've gone up Mount Kilimanjaro, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's not an anthill. That's a fair income.
No, that's a serious mother of a hill to climb.
Yeah,
I'll tell you,
yeah.
big fella. Yeah, no.
Let's talk about that.
Well,
Oh, you want him to talk about what he came on for?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why not? Something different. It's the one thing we don't
so,
normally
but
do.
I'm glad you talk about something I know about. Well, you have to prepare for it because it's a bit of a feat. Because it's 20,000 feet.
Right.
It takes 5 days.
Wow.
And takes 5 days up and 3 days down. And
There's no escalator? No?
not an escalator. No short flights with a parachute. You just
Okay.
gotta go hard. Yeah.
I've never thought of, I mean, logically, I understand why something takes a lot longer to go up than what it comes down, but I've never,
It's called gravity. Okay.
I've never actually heard that before. Like, that was interesting. Like, most people would say it takes 8 days, but it's like, well, 5 up and 3
Three down.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So you learn lots because there's about 30-ish deaths a year from altitude sickness. In fact, Tanya and I were talking about it earlier. And you either get, if you're unlucky enough to get altitude sickness, it's either pulmonary edema or cerebral edema.
So what is the difference?
Pulmonary edema, as in lungs, water on the lungs.
Yep.
Cerebral, brain, water on the
Wow.
brain.
You wouldn't want both.
No, you hardly ever get the daily double. You generally
Okay.
just get one.
One or t'other.
Yeah. So you sort of, my wife and I sort of discussed this at length before I went because it is a bit of a risk.
And Di didn't want to go?
No.
That was a definite no.
It was a boys' trip.
Okay.
Yeah. Some boys go on golfing trips.
Yep.
Yep.
Some boys go climb Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
Right? And we all wanted to go safaring after that as well.
And Di's got a nursing background, hasn't she?
Yeah, so we sort of tried to do the research on the altitude sickness thing and what you should take to try and prevent it. And Diamox is the commonly prescribed drug that a lot of the travel doctors will prescribe, and even my doctor prescribed it. But some of the research we did, because Di's very thorough with the research, which is fabulous, we determined that it won't prevent you from getting altitude sickness. Like, it's not a guarantee.
Mhm.
So if you do get altitude sickness whilst you're on that drug, there's no way you can have any support because you've already got Diamox in your system.
Okay.
So you've got to go, we decided before we went to go, righto, we won't take it. We'll monitor our symptoms, which the first ones are headaches. They can be really bad headaches.
Gotcha.
And then if we needed it, we could shove a couple of Diamox into you and that would hopefully help you. And so when we spoke to 𝐊𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐦𝐚, our guide, when we first got to Arusha, because there was 7 of us in the group.
And what were their age ranges?
We were still getting on there. So we were like in our mid to late 50s.
Mhm.
Yes, it's about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So when our head guy that was responsible for the whole team, there was 35 of us in the group, 7 climbers, and the rest of the guys were all these Tanzanian boys, very strong young boys that would carry all of our gear up for us.
Mm.
And so he said, yeah, definitely, this is what you do. You don't take Diamox at all. We carry oxygen. If you absolutely get into trouble, we'll throw some oxygen into you. You're not allowed to take oxygen with you.
Right.
It is the highest mountain in the world to climb without a rope, which is just an interesting fact.
So Jeff, sorry, could I just ask how high is it in meters?
8,995.
And what height are you expecting to start worrying about altitude sickness?
It
For me,
varies.
it's the second rung on the ladder.
It varies, Tanya. It varies. Around about 5,000 to 6,000 meters, you can start to get some symptoms. But what we did find out is that all these deaths are preventable, and the key is not your fitness. No, it's nothing to do with fitness. It's about acclimatization, and so it's the time you take to get to the top is the key. And there was a guy called Charles Hollingworth who was he's a Perth guy, engineer, and very well accredited mountain climber. He climbed Everest on the south side, on the toughest side.
Right.
He practiced for 5 years on other mountains in the Himalayas, and he was guest speaker like 3 or 4 days after we got back, and I booked us in to go and listen to him speak, and I told him our story, and one of our guys nearly died because he did get cerebral edema. One of our mates from Albany, and anyway, we're telling this Charles Hollingworth chap who'd just done all these magnificent climbs all over the place, and the first question he says, "How long did it take you to get up?" And we said 5 days. He said, "Oh, well, therein lies the problem. It's the time it takes." He said, if you go up in 5 days, you've got about a 20% chance of getting ill.
Right.
It doesn't kill you. It doesn't automatically kill you. You can get terribly ill or a little bit ill and not die. But if you take 6 days, it reduces by about 10% each time. So if you get to 8 days, if you get to 10 days going up, 100% no, not a problem.
Right.
So it's just
slow down, enjoy the journey.
at times, yeah. So the deaths the bulk of the deaths are with the young fit ones, because
Going up
they
too quickly.
because they go up too quickly. They try and get up. It's like it's a race. They try and get up in
Yeah.
because they're super athletes. These 18, 19, 20-year-old kids that might do triathlons and they go, "Oh yeah, you beauty. Oh well, I'll get up in 3 days," and of course they run the highest risk of being killed.
So paint a picture for us, Jeff. What was the preparation like for doing that? And the time of the year, I guess you would have had to have had weather gear.
Well, it's an interesting one, though. It's a very good question, because I think it was around October, and it's warm and tropical at the start because you're walking through almost a rainforest.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and then you get out onto the dry, on more of a flat, and it starts to slowly climb, and so that's easy because that's the long walk. But we prepared for about 6 months to get fit. Yeah. So, did a couple of climbs down there at what's that highest, biggest hill we've got down near the winery country down near Albany, up from Albany, Stirling Ranges.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
What's that one? The highest hill in WA. Okay. So I climbed that a couple of times, and then I would do long walks with a backpack. Okay. So 6 months along the beach.
Yep.
3 or 4 hour walks.
So was it a steep climb or was it more gradual?
Okay, so the first 4 days is pretty gradual, but then it gets much colder as well. So that's why you got shorts and a light shirt at the start, and then you start adding clothes as you get higher up. And so the last night, on the 4th night, it was bloody cold, like it was about 15 degrees below zero.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's freezing.
I can't contemplate that.
I can't contemplate that.
Don't like the cold.
Yeah. So that's like, it's freezing. You've got these special big mitts. They're much better than gloves, like big mittens, and special you know, sleeping bags and stuff like that. And and so
you're not there in your camo beanie and
no, you do. You've got to have the right gear.
yeah,
Yeah. And we didn't happen in our group. We heard stories of where guys would go to sleep with their, you know, their sort of water bottles inside their sleeping bag to try and keep their body warm. But in the morning, they would have frozen.
Freeze.
Wow.
Yeah, their water bottles are just frozen. And the other thing is because you're so cold at that point, and you're about sort of around 6,000 meters on the fourth day. So it's getting up there, you know, like it's 18,000 feet, and you're cold, and your mind says, well, I'm that bloody cold, I don't need to drink. But you lose so much of your body moisture out of your breath because you're exhaling your actual your moisture out of your body. So you've got to keep drinking.
And how many guides were there in comparison to the group? So there was a group of 7, did you say?
Yeah, 7 climbers. So 2 girls sort of joined us at the last minute. It was meant to be a boys' trip. But
Who invited them?
look, we didn't. But they were lovely. They were from New York and they were very chatty. And
I've never known a woman to be chatty.
and they, great girls. And so
Do you need a cushion over there?
we were,
It's getting comfy.
we were sort of, oh, what's going on here? You know, the girls on our trip. But it worked out fine. And so there's 7 of us and there was 35 in total in the group.
Okay.
So it's a big team.
Yeah.
Because they carted up all our gear, you know,
That's amazing.
yeah, all your bedding, your tents.
You just don't think about that.
Yeah.
So it's like 1 to 4. You have kind of had 4 people.
Yeah,
assisting you.
and when I first got to Arusha, we were there for a bit of a few days to acclimatise and get to know the joint, and we went on a little mini safari just out of Arusha, and you could see Kilimanjaro over in the distance, and it's got a massive great glacier on the top, so it sort of sticks out pretty obviously. So you know, clouds, and then poking out through the clouds there's this big white glacial top. And I had one look at that and I thought, I can't believe how stupid I am. Why did Earth agree to do this? Because, you know, I hadn't done, like I was hardly a seasoned mountain climber. I'm trying to, is it Bluff Knoll?
Yes,
Bluff
Knoll.
Knoll.
That's the
Yeah.
one.
Well, it's hardly Bluff Knoll.
No.
I could do that in an afternoon. But, and so I thought, so I started to panic a bit. And our backpacks were going to be about 5 kilos,
Right.
just for your water and your Mars bar, you know, bit of energy.
That's straight.
And so I thought, nah, I've got to increase every chance of getting there because we all had to get to the top. And so I, as soon as I got to the starting grid where all the team were gathering to start the first day of the climb, I got hold of our guide and I said, mate, I want one of those big, strong boys over there. What's it going to cost me to get him to cut my backpack all the way to the top? And then he's taking my water and my Mars bars.
There must have had a lot of Mars bars.
And that's it, right?
Right.
And he said, oh, yeah, no, we'll do a deal. So for, I don't know what it cost me. It was a bargain, $80 or something, for this long, big, tall, strapping guy called 𝐊𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐦𝐚, who ended up putting through college, to cart my backpack. And I would just, you know, I was the only one out of our group that had my own private porter.
Right.
At that stage.
Well, yeah. Well, all the others thought I was just being a wuss.
Yeah.
And of course I copped hammering.
A lot of flack for that.
Hammering for that. I said, "Oh, look, Maggie, you know, look, I'm the oldest. I've got to make sure I do this."
Yeah.
And so that helped, I think. Yeah.
So you said that you ended up putting him through college. So tell us about that conversation. How did that start, and how did that come about?
Well, he was a lovely young chap. He his English was reasonably good. He knew about Zumba who played footy for the Dockers,
Right.
because he's an African footballer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think he was a South African or Zimbabwe. I'm not too sure, but he was quite well. He would play for the Dockers. He's a great footballer, and so these African kids would follow the African footballers over here in Australia. Yeah. And so there was that going on. His sister was a school teacher, Margaret. And so he asked lots of questions, and because we were like buddies for the whole.
Oh, I can imagine.
Five,
Your Mars bars. Come on.
You can't get ahead of me, Lemma.
All right. So how many Mars bars did you take, Jeff?
Well, I don't know. Probably enough. You could 2 handfuls, because you need energy, Lisa. You need energy.
You do.
Yeah.
You got to have energy.
I'm just waiting for Jeff's about to go, and you'll find real energy. It's just slide a nice silky ad right in the middle there. That's fantastic.
I was going to
But all jokes
say.
aside, I feel like a Mars bar.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
so that was a little. So we just got to know this kid really well, and anyway. So I thought, and we knew about, because I'd asked them about school and how they learned English and how they. Were they taught English in school, the basic stuff, which I didn't know about, and so in the end it was a case of, well, you get paid, $10 US a day for this work, and that's well paid, right?
That's well paid.
That's well paid, right? So, and it's hard work, they're looking after people like me, carting all our gear, and they're doing all this other work, assembling tents, and they put in 14-hour days. $10 a day. So I sort of quizzed him a bit about on how, could he further his education, and we had long chats about that. So
we had plenty of time.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah, you had time.
So I did a bit of research with the leader of the pack, Safuel, who gave me that rap on my LinkedIn site.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. And then I met his sister, had a bit of a chat about, further education and so forth. And then we agreed to get him started, at a college in Nairobi.
Right.
So he could get 2 meals.
You just decided after talking to him that you felt like you wanted to help him. Is that
Yeah,
where it
pretty
came from?
well.
You
Yeah, I
just
was thinking
felt
about
that
it a
you really
lot.
wanted-
I was thinking about it a lot. It's about $1,000 US. So then to give them, they got 2 qualifications, one for mountain climbing and then one for safari tourism diploma, basically.
Right.
Yeah. And so they get bored, 2 meals a day, and they come out with 2 qualifications.
That is
For
absolutely
$1,000.
For $1,000 US.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
And so
I want one of those $400,000 gender studies qualifications. That's what I want. Jeez, that seems like value. No, but mate, you know what? I jest. When I actually found out that you did that, I'm so impressed with that, because many of us want to do that, and a lot of people talk about it. Okay, but it's actually taking action. And you see someone there, and you know what? I can change your life here.
Yeah.
With a relatively small outlay, relatively, in different, very, very different currencies, obviously.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
It's such a good thing.
To you.
It's such a good. Thanks, mate. Yeah. Well, because Lemon now, so exciting. I mean, he's been a Facebook friend now for 10 years. Yeah. And all his little mates, Johnson, and all the other guys, they all, righto, Jeff, when are you coming back? I said, oh, bring Di back. She loves the animals. Oh, right. So they know your family, and they're strong family kids and people, and they, but he could afford to build a house with his pay rise, because he got a 40% salary increase, right?
Wow.
So he now does safari tours, and is qualified, still all government regulated, recognised qualifications, and so with a 40% increase, pretty good. And he could go and buy. It's got a dirt floor, but it's a house.
It's a house. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just going to interrupt on that one. I tell you right now, as far as different perspectives, okay. When many years ago I was in Bali, and we all go to Bali. I took my kids and family there, and at the time I had 6 beautiful kids, right? Anyway, of course we had our driver Katut, okay. Everyone's got a Katut. Katut and I actually became really close friends and still are friends to this day. Fantastic fella. Just get along with him well. And I've actually gone back just to visit Katut, right? But where I'm going on this is that, okay, one day Katut says, come and have a meal at my house. We'll make a traditional meal for you all, kind of thing, on the open fire. And we didn't mention the open fire. So we go out there and beautiful. We go, and the house has no roof. It's a dirt floor. It's got a tree growing through it, right? Okay. And it's basically, it's a glorified shanty, right? It's got the deathbed over there, very depressing. It's got the cooker, which is obviously wood fired, all very basic, right? And I thought, oh, this is such a great lesson for my kids. They're going to learn just what they've got, and they'll be grateful for what they've got, right? Because they'll see how hard it is and they've got kids, so they can see how hard the kids have only got 2 plastic cars to play with and nothing. I'm really thinking my kids are going to get this great lesson, right? Yeah. My son just goes, "How cool is this? A tree in your house?" And it was totally took it the wrong way, and it was like, Dad, can we get a tree in our house? Kind of attitude. That's gorgeous. But it's so sweet. It's so sweet. But when you see, I mean, look, lives are so different.
How old was your son at the time?
5.
Yeah, well, that's why. If it'd been a 14-year-old, it would have been very different.
Exactly. Yeah. Where's the tablet?
Exactly. Where's the TV?
But but it's a nice thing, and I mean, I certainly didn't contribute like you did, but I would send over toy cars and then like a box of cars for their son, and then when their daughter came along, toys for her as well, because it's just a very small thing you can do that will change people, right? And why not do it? We're very lucky here in the West in so many ways.
And there's a high level of appreciation. Where there's a lot of money given away to underprivileged people, if they sort of abuse it, you think, well, you can only put up with so much of abuse for trying to help people.
Sure.
But these guys they're fabulous. They're very appreciative. They keep in contact with you, and I know if I just take my wife back there, there'll be happy days. We'll get the raw tour. Be fantastic.
So I know that we weren't, and we're not going to be speaking about finance per se, but am I correct in saying that they deal with crypto on their phones over there?
Yes, they do. That
just blew me away.
It's interesting. The average African kid that I deal with over there has got about 25 Aussie value of Bitcoin on their phones.
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's quite amazing. So they'll go and trade a bit of Bitcoin for the week's supply of groceries for the family. Because the blokes, who's got the store at the farmers markets.
Sure.
So were they really advanced then?
They can accept Bitcoin, right? Because it's transferred on their wallets, which is a fabulous thing. So that's one area that they're on par with the rest of the world.
Oh, they're probably ahead of us in that.
I would say so.
Can I ask you this? Okay, you've gone with Kilimanjaro, right? Are you looking at the big one? Are you going, Everest, I'll give that a crack?
Well, I signed up for it.
Oh,
I did. The same group of blokes.
Right.
And anyway, about 2 months out, I just got deluged with work, and I just couldn't go. So I pulled out, and that was it.
Did the rest go?
Because they all went. But a funny thing happened though. Wasn't that funny? I was sitting at the office at home. I got a phone call from the tour company that we were all going through, the one I pulled out on, and this woman said, can I speak to Jeffrey Bowman, please? And I said, speaking. Who's calling? She told me who it was, from Sally from the blah, blah tour company. And she said, where are you? I said, what? Why are you asking? And I said, I'm here at home in Perth. Oh, good. All right. Because we're trying to double check, because all the people that were on your tour, we're just making sure they didn't get caught up in the avalanche that happened last night.
Right.
And our guys, they missed it by 8 hours.
Wow.
And it killed about 20 people.
Wow.
Yeah, that was just above base camp. Yeah.
Jeez. I mean, you kind of think about these things as become almost a little bit touristy, right? I mean, you've got people helping and there's a whole system, but it's still a hell of a challenge, right? And it's still in a place which is quite dangerous. Avalanches happen.
Oh, yeah. No, it's tricky. I'm going to tell you about how cold it was. So the last 1,000 meters you do at night. So you try and get there about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, have a feed, try and get a few hours sleep, and then you're woken up at 11 about 11:30 at night. And then you start your climb, and then you go for 7 hours, and you try and get to the summit by dawn.
Sure.
So you're there when the sun comes up. So everyone can take their pickies, right?
It's all about the selfie.
And you get a signal on your phone up there, which is cool.
Wow.
Because then you could send a picture back to your mum and dad.
I wonder if that's good for you though as well, because you don't have to sleep in the freezing cold weather as well. Do you think? You know, like you had on the second until last night. So they get you walking instead to keep you warm.
Yeah, look, you're dead right. I mean, it was. But the thing with that was, it's great that you're walking and you because you can hardly breathe. The air is so thin at say 6,000 meters.
Right.
Where are we? It's 1,000 meters. Yeah. Okay. So we're about 7,900 meters before you start the last push for the last 7 hours in the middle of the night, right?
Yep.
It's from midnight to 7 a.m. And it's so high you can hardly breathe, right? So, and you shuffle. You get 1 foot, next foot, about half a length.
Okay.
That's all you can do for 7 hours. And you're desperate, for breath.
What about desperate for a wee?
Too bad. Keep pushing on. Don't hold the show up.
Ice cubes, off you go.
Yes.
There we go.
Get that sorted before you leave the camp. And of course you've got to keep hydrated for the reason I mentioned earlier, because all the moisture comes out of your breath. And so you've got to at this stage I had to take the water off Lemma, my porter. And so I had the backpack, and you tuck it in right down up against your back, and all your coats are around it to try and keep it warm so it doesn't freeze on your back. But you've got the water tube coming out of the back of it in your mouth. And of course you don't really have to do much. You got to walk at a snail's pace, and you've got to remember that when you suck on your little mouthful of water, that you've got enough energy to blow the water back out of the pipe back into the bladder on your back.
Right.
Because if you don't do that, it freezes in the pipe.
Freeze in the
Wow.
Can you relate to that?
Yeah. Oh,
Have you
yeah,
done
I
that,
could
or
see
do you relate
No.
to that as a science
I
teacher?
thought that, yes, I think that's what he would be saying. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, wow.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, these things you have to think of.
I know,
hey?
you wouldn't think you're going to think about much, but I lost my concentration because I was,
Did you forget to drink?
no, but I forgot to blow back.
Okay.
Yeah. So
then you're snapping the ice in your
yeah, and then this bloody solid tube hanging here. It's going nowhere. Yeah, yeah. So
This does not sound like a trip of a lifetime to me. It sounds like hell.
Yeah,
it's not for everybody.
It's not for Lisa.
But challenging yourself is such a cool thing to do, right? Honestly.
Yeah.
Do you think it's cool?
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah.
It is, and then you just push on through, and you get there.
Yeah.
Imagine 7
Such an
hours of just
achievement.
shuffling.
I
like
remember
that.
it's obviously a volcano, now a deceased volcano, with a bloody great glacier on top. But the edge that we came up when you ascend, it's massive, great boulders, and you've got to climb over these boulders. So they range in size of that telly to half the size of this room. They're quite difficult.
Jeez.
And you're buggered. You're freezing and you're out of breath and you're buggered. And I do remember Lemma being on one of the big boulders above, and we've got these walking sticks. And I'm sort of hanging on to a walking stick, and he's trying to pull me up. And I'll never forget him. He said, I'm struggling, I'm half dead. He's going, Jeff, you are a strong man. You can do this.
He didn't sound that convincing right there.
And here I am at 56 and totally
So I
stuck.
know we don't have too much longer before we have to close off. So don't keep us in suspense. Was it worth it? What happened? How did you feel when you got to the top?
Oh, it was just
what-
fabulous. You meant to
yeah.
stay up there for 40 minutes, and we no more than 20 minutes. We stayed up there for about like an hour and a half.
Is that all?
Because you got to walk all the way around to the the highest part of the crater rim,
Gotcha.
which is all the way around. So when we finally got over these bloody boulders, we're lying on our back all half dead. We're going, and they're going, we've got to get up, boys. We've got to get to there. And it was all the way around the rim of the basically the crater
Mm.
to the highest point where you get your picture taken, where you've made it, you know. And so for that it was worth it. It was just
to get
fabulous.
the picture.
Just to get the picture.
So
Yeah.
you get your pen knife out there and you scrape in there. Jeff was here.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, so
Mate, that is amazing. It really is. Like, okay, I want to throw an idea. Get in your car, set your odometer, and go and drive. Okay, find a straight line, get on the freeway, whatever, and drive 9 kilometers. Okay, and just see how far that is. And now think of it that way.
Yeah.
With the rocks. I mean, that is a long
Yeah.
way.
yeah, you're above you're actually above the cloud level. So the clouds are coming in underneath you, which is a bit eerie.
It would be.
Oh, see, I'd like that. I'd like that experience.
That fluffy experience.
Yeah, I'd like the fluffiness, but that's not the hard climb all the way
No.
up there.
But then,
What's the most that you've done, Tanya, adventure-wise?
I walked the Camino de Santiago, which is 800 kilometers.
that's a great effort.
And considering I'd never done a walk before,
Wow.
You
I
know,
have
there's
done
these
Machu
things-
Picchu, and I
There's things
walked
called
in.
cars, right? Okay, you know that, okay?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know it's
wow.
crazy. Yeah, I did
Amazing.
Machu Picchu, so I know about altitude. So that was
Yeah.
about 4,500
Yeah.
meters.
Yeah,
So walked in for that as well. So
So
that's a great effort.
yes, thank you.
Yeah, really good effort.
Not quite as hard as yours, I think.
I think people have got to talk about these things more
Yeah.
because, you know, these are remarkable things, right?
Yeah.
I had no idea, mate, about some of your adventures. And that, like, it just sounds latest to you. And why do we not talk about these things? Like, you know, these are great accomplishments in our lives. We should be sharing it, you know?
Mm.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, no, I think you just got to get out and about, and you
have
do
a
have
go.
to do things, don't
Yeah.
you? You know, it's interesting. There's different cultures and there's different landscapes and some magnificent vistas and a bit of an old challenge, mental and physical.
So where's the next trip,
Yes.
Dennis?
No, I'm going to go down the south of Italy, June.
Oh, what a struggle that will be.
Yeah,
Terrible.
you got to, and have a good look around there. We've got a mate's birthday party in Puglia, down at the base of the boot. So a long way away from Venice. I won't be getting there this time. It's one of my favourite spots.
Very good.
So you've done a lot of travelling, obviously.
Oh, not nearly as much as I'd like, but I've
Yeah.
done a bit.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's good. It's great to have a look around, see different cultures.
Yeah, I mean, Japan's my favourite skiing place. It's nice and close. So I sponsor a medical conference up there every year in a place called Niseko on the sort of northwestern corner of Hokkaido. SONS, which is a Society of Neuromuscular Sciences, a bunch of doctors that have been doing it for a long time, mainly Eastern State doctors. Gets
Right.
booked out in about an hour.
I bet it does.
Maximum 100 doctors. That's it. They can't. Yeah, it's like applying for tickets for a rock concert. You got to get on early.
Oh, yeah. That's absolutely brilliant.
Have we come to the end of our
Yeah,
time,
come to the end of our time.
Mr. Timekeeper?
Oh, look, yes, I'm watching. Look at this. The watch is fresh. There we go.
Oh,
Yeah,
Tanya, thank you so much for
Oh,
co-hosting
thank you.
today.
Been a
Really
pleasure.
appreciate
Really
it. Yeah, and I hope everyone's really enjoyed listening to Jeff's adventures. And thank you so much for coming and sharing another side of Jeff Bowman and your adventures climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
Oh, pleasure, Lisa.
Or we'll just keep going and have another beer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the
you're
time.
welcome. And we'll have Leanne back next week with another special guest and look forward to sharing again then.